Meditation, Reflections Improviser Augustine I. Ancient title and contemporary treatise. So, I just had a rooming ceremony with my mother, great mother Vord, and in barbaric provincia of Canoe, BC. Went to a little school, elementary school. It was the early 1980s. 80s also. And part of the class was Gen X, and part of the class was millennials, or fraction anyway. And so many chaotic, of course, elementary school, but children, but many chaotic um, scenarios happened. So part of realizing that you're somewhere and you're somebody in a criteria of extreme dystopia and denounce vulgarities is the demagogues indoctrinate your class and your home, your school class, your show class, your home life with barbaric intrigue. Um, so they were going to teach us imperial Hellenistic medicine's peerage degrees. However, completely lost control. Not they. How old would I have been? I think it was grade 1 or 4. Same classroom. Anyway, they completely lost control and began barbaric babbling and denouncing, and then they tore the flag down and a bunch of other things, fired people, fired teachers and those. But anyway, how to approach this sensitively. So part of our policy, our constitution is extraordinary monarchist and ordinary paternalistic political party organizational structure. Constitution is if it's true, no matter how awkward it is, then you recognize it and encourage healthy masculinity, femininity, and sovereignty. So we still babble about this everywhere. How best to approach this? So we weren't all peers in the class. So what happened after that? Maybe I'll start there. They introduced metric behavioral science, and this was orientated towards the Bill of Rights of Canada, and So they began to diagnose us with ADHD and behavior issues of every kind, right? All of a sudden, everyone in the class was on one medication or another. And so all I've ever really known is metric science, so I'm a novice. And any talk of religion was prohibited. Any talk of government was prohibited. Any 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 altercations where you'd be expended or what do you call it, expelled or suspended. Have to talk to a psychiatrist. Um, music class was cancelled because it had patriotic, insightful music that you might learn in culture. Um, strange philosophers, strange barbaric philosophers came in and started indoctrinating us in strange tradition. One thing they told us was that the trees they will run out of oxygen and things like that. That the trees provide all the breathing oxygen. They don't. It's oceanification. Or just things that we deal with now. People, barbaric babble about uneducated people. And they have real anxiety issues with. A lot of mental illness came from there. Anyway, so there's 64 degrees of peerage. And I actually don't have a peer except for an ancestor and an ancestor before him. All the predecessors. And my mother and father are actually social inferiors. The peerage below me. And it's good because at least they had peers. Now, eugenically, peers fulfill each other's social needs. Right? So the things they taught me created a kind of a delusion in my mind, in the minds of others, especially Klansmen, because we were searching out concepts like love and free love and all the other stuff they indoctrinated us with. And that doesn't exist. Right? And so all these relationships we formed were based on a fallacy. It didn't last. And we get married, but we don't stay married long. Things like that. So anyway, there's 64 periods, and according to the technical manual, I'm an infinity and an infinus. So I'm an infinity citizen, right? There's 64 classifications as citizen as well. And peerage, I'm a sizer. And gazelle. So, ancient title. Anyway, what? So in your home, in your home or your villa as a citizen or freeborn. Excuse me. We often have very casual interactions, but even we're being like socially stimulated, right? Banter. And like everyone is different, usually, but there are similarities, right? So, what the CBC and the whole, I don't know, and there's All Children Matter, and Truth and Reconciliation, and what else? Child Scoop, residential schools, and genocide, and hearing grievances and things. So, anyway, one of the concepts I heard over the radio, and this elder, I don't remember where from, and I don't remember her name, and I don't remember her ancient title, said, the problem with homes is they don't set up boundaries with each other, right? They just have casual uh, relationships. No, no. So, like the instructor at a show, a school, someone is in charge of the room, okay, among your peers, right? No, the reason they lost their mind, well, I was a child in that school, I'm actually the authority. So, in effect, I was in charge of the classroom ceremonial the whole time. I did not know that. And they said a few random things to that effect, but I did not know that. So in the home, the father, the mother, or child, if they're wherever they learn at school or in radio, they set up boundaries with each other, healthy boundaries. And they don't just bang on each other's door, yell and scream, and um, curse and demand each other's attention all the time like it's nothing. Peers, 64th peers, whether freeborn or chattel, should not attempt to subjugate each other into socializing. There is literally a limit to the amount of socialization one wants or needs. Unwanted attention is unhealthy, toxic, sickening. There's nothing more sacred than your family's home. The extended family of God, right? So this elder, you hold a ceremony. You say to the children, instead of just hollering at them about whatever they haven't done, or what they're gonna do, or some kind of structure, right? So you say, which is ineffective, isn't it? Obviously, if you're always screaming at each other, uh, denouncing each other, listening to each other, you gotta do something because you know where that goes. Certainly enough of that to predict what happens in a home that doesn't respect each other. So it has physical and mental characteristics like, or certainly if you cuss each other, you'll all get sick. So the sacred rooming ceremony. So it's awkward to begin with, isn't it? But the indigenous have been doing this in North America for thousands of years. You don't just randomly start hollering. You gotta sit down and actually talk to each other, hear each other's concerns, and be perfectly clear what the boundaries are. Right? How many times have you heard from your parents, "Come here right now," or something like that? You want them to be a demagogue's whipping toy for the rest of their life? Right? And that's what the demagogues do to us. That's chattel indoctrination. And anyway, like in Europe, the Klansmen got a bad reputation for doing that, right? And, so they chased them out of Europe. They didn't want them around anymore. So, um, anyway, now we're here in North America, and many of our no, that's pretty mutual between Europe and North America. So anyway, the rooming ceremony. Uh, you literally build a construct in the family home that you leave each other alone in silence unless you're all sitting down for a rooming ceremony. And then you, as a parent or orphanage leader or whatever, you make sure they know that they're peers by the degree and their divine nature. Because believing you don't belong and there's nothing good about you, and that anyone can talk to you any way they want is not true and not good. Right? So, so so my mother, her behavior's erratic, right? And she's a second degree citizen or a second degree peer. My father was a second degree peer, and every time I'm busy, knocks on the door, wants something, right? Or you begin to talk to her, and she, right, lacked structure all her life. Literally, like most of the people on Earth now, cannot focus on a discussion of any kind, a topic, anything. They literally ramble from one thing to the next. Barbaric babbling. So they lose control of their tongue, and that's your choice. I mean, raise productive, healthy people or demented, babbling barbarians. So anyway, right before man. Um, well, yeah, we're drug addicted. You know what I mean? There's consequences, actual consequences. So realize first thing that the ancestors, no matter where you are on Earth, are always present, right? 80s is a social place, and in the wise home, they would. set boundaries, and have a sacred rooming ceremony. Now, obviously, during this, you can say, "Oh, well, we'll watch a movie or something together as a family in a date and time." Right? Still structured. You've made the Euclidean geometry connection between order and your pastimes. Right? However, if you just scream at each other, well, that's so. Anyway, I asked Mom just now about it. What is? Well, we talked about Christmas gifts for one thing, and how I appreciated the gifts she gave me as a child, and that's good enough. And then I asked her, what can you point out anything that was positive or good since Red Sun this year, June 22nd to now? This is 3 days to White Sun. She says yes. Uh, she really enjoyed gardening tomatoes. And she grew quite a few. And they were good. Tomatoes are good. Um, then I asked her, can you point out any? Did you notice anything wrong since Redson, June 22nd, 2009? Well, a light vacuum cleaner outlet is sloppy from plug-in consistent for 50 years. It's the same plug-in the vacuum was using. Okay, I said I can actually fix that. And so then I said, before I go, can you raise your head skyward and be filled with peace? I know why you would do that. Well, if you focus on the heavens, your mind clears and you can actually think. So, because the demagogue gets you to focus on carnal flesh issues, whether you got enough food or all the old fighting or whatever the baggage, right? And a look of joy crossed her face for a moment. And then I said, when this ceremony's finished, I don't want to talk anymore. And that's the boundary. Constant chattering and bickering and casual. That's not socializing, it's meaningless, barbaric babbling. So you set up a time where, say, some one of your family members feels the need to socialize, is feeling lonely, right? You teach them to tell you, I really need a sacred room with you right now in ceremony. Oh, okay. And then then everyone has an idea what they're actually doing, right? Being imposed upon to being forced to talk about nonsense, that's unhealthy. When there's structure, oh, you're just rooming, right? You're just sharing each other's presence. It has structure. How long does that last? Right? 15 minutes. And then just go and do your own things again. whatever comes to your mind and structure. Right, make rates. Oh well, we're definitely in trouble or whatever. But don't just scream at each other. Don't just constantly demand and impose and attempt to subjugate each other. Right? If you're doing that, the demagogues got you possessed. Okay. Oh, well. So we talked a little bit about my childhood schooling. How we definitely had an incident and reacted poorly, and that spread across the world, and how we can't even understand what each other's saying anymore. So anyway, this indigenous say this instills the values of your people and your customs and traditions, and that's what they've done for centuries. And I agree, it's important. So, yep, grooming ceremony or a camp ceremony, right? If you're homeless on the street and you're lonely, right? And you just need a presence of another human appear, uh, form a camp sharing circle. And maybe it's awkward among people, but gonna stick. Who's gonna talk? So you're not just hollering about drugs and things like that. So you pass the stick around. The one with the stick is the one that's allowed to talk, right? 5, 6 people in a circle, and then you're heard from your soul instead of. Oh, okay, thank you. Uh, then you're heard from your soul instead of being ignored or denounced or scolded or hollered over or hollered at or whatever. Yeah, you're respecting each other's Buddha nature or your innate nature. So the ancestors will see it and they'll be impressed. There's not a continent in the world that doesn't have ancestors that are impressed with good manners and harmony. No matter if you're from Europe or North America or Asia or Antarctic or the North Pole. Or Oceanicus or any of the other release. Okay. Anyway, I guess we made some mistakes that permeated the world, and we'll have to forgive ourselves, I guess. There was our instructors that became confused and didn't indoctrinate us right in social customs of our people. So if you're feeling set upon by your wife, or your husband, or children, then institute sacred grooming ceremony. It is sacred, even if you describe yourself as an atheist or non-practicing this, that, or the other thing, or feel foolish or stupid, or however you describe yourself with the demagogue's indoctrination. Even if you're proud and rich and powerful, it's still good. Um, yeah. So, all right. Did I miss anything? The point is not to overindulge in proving your intelligence or self gratifying anything, especially as a father or mother. You're just holding the ring ceremony, so and, you ask constructive questions that are you write them down pre the ceremony. Just simple questions, not too many. And the very most, well, really, what's the one subject you want to talk about? Think of two questions. Don't overdo it. Don't be like we've got, don't in one day, don't overload them with too many subjects again. Right? Uh, and they'll talk about amongst themselves. If you're a big family or more than two people, then you definitely need a talking stick. Right? If you're an orphanage, you definitely need a talking stick. Um, or a classroom. So, even an office or whatever. If you're all just shouting over top of each other and nobody's listening, right? It'll actually really improve proficiency and performance if you organize and allow sacred divinity into your architecture, and that improves everything. So, I suppose this concept of culture, we call it culture alienation, culture usurping culture. I don't know what these are. It's blocked. There's not a continent on the planet that didn't have ceremonial gatherings. None. So, not culture appropriating anything. You're not acting like a fool. So, all these people, all my people, are full of anxiety. Right? So, that's that's a chance to practice I'm okay, you're okay if they're expressing as a leader of your home, father or mother of your home, children of your home. That's definitely an opportunity to optimize them. But, even that can get a. Anyway, like I remain silent all the time for hours at a time. Sometimes whole days. I don't speak a word. Why would you? Nobody is listening. Right? So, just a moment. I'm conferring with the ancestors about that. And when fellowship comes over, or community comes over, you definitely inform them that you're having a sacred ceremony. And if they don't want to have a sacred ceremony, then why are they there? Right? As a casual situation, people come to your home for one of two things: sex, or food, or an object. Right? Or a beer, an object. Casual conversation often ends in stupid talk and not barbaric babbling. So, here's what it is. Anything else, ancestors? That was good. I forgot about when people come over. When your peers come over, or you go over to your peers. That's about it. Okay. Improviser Augustine I.